Hello, this is Chizova Katie, and you're listening to Novels and Bits podcast, Nibber. Today is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. The last story we finished was by Ali Hazelwood to Bride. Today is Deep End. While the focus of the last one was a contemporary fantasy romance, today's genre is more of a college sports romance. Like they're college students, they're both athletes. This is a romance story. I like that Ali Hazelwood explores genres like that. She's done young adults, that's YA. She's done academia, she's done tech. I love that mix. So it kind of makes every time I see her work is interested. She just stretches herself and explores like that. So yeah. Now today's story is Deep End. Let's start. It opens up on Scarlett's 21st birthday. Yay! She's officially an adult in the US way, allowed to drink and stuff. She's been an adult since 18. They're at a restaurant. She is at a restaurant with the girls. They're her teammates, actually. And because she's legally allowed to drink, she's seizing the opportunity and downing mimosas. Now, it doesn't prepare her, though, for the moment of truth. Her team captain, Penelope. That Penelope is her team captain does not mean that Penelope is older than her. They're both 21. You get, and this is a team they're divers. They're a group of divers. You can Google that. Reading the story made me. I was watching videos of divers. I'm like, man, that's a cool sport, man. The way how they have to fortify their body, this, that. We'll get into all of that in the story. So let's move on. Now, Penelope now mentions that her intimate relations with her boyfriend, Lukas Blomqvist, he's Swedish and he's in water polo. That is the guys that swim, now when you see all those swimmer guys swimming the fast and then, they're in their tights and then the head cover thing and the goggles thing and then they're swimming and looking all fine. The K-drama that comes to mind is that weightlifting fairy, that weightlifting fairy that have the guy of interest now. He was a swimmer. Yes, that way he looks like. Those are the water polo guys. Please, you guys have to get my reference today. I'm just kind of excited because this story is great and it had mixed reviews. People swore for this book while another group of people loved it there. So I just had to read it to form my own opinion. I'll tell you that opinion at the end. I'm not saying anything right now, but did I enjoy the story? I enjoyed it. Period. Now let's keep going. Lukas is the hot guy, the guy that wins loads of medals. The guy with the accent. Man, I read this book by both reading and listening to the audiobook at the same time. That is, wow, that's a wonderful experience. So through that, I was able to hear the accent in question and, ooh la la, y'all. Okay, so he's good. Now, but Penelope is telling her friends that hot guy, they're always admiring, like, oh my God, Penny and Lucas, oh my God, dream couple. But now she's telling her friends, nah, things between us in the other room are not that good. You get, this is Americans, this is their value system, so let that be. Let's keep going. So anyhow, the things in the other room are not going very well. Apparently, Lukas does not cuddle after the doings. And then they tend to fight about who will be on top or not. Just something like that. Anyway, the conversation gets broken up when servers come with a birthday cake for Scarlett. Scarlett is a main girl. And Scarlett is so proud that her introverted self somehow managed to have nice friends. See, although her name is Scarlett, all her friends, most everybody calls her surname Vandy. Vandermeer is her surname, but they all call her Vandy. You get, I didn't even indicate it here. The only person who actually calls her Scarlett in the book for the most part is just Lukas. Most of them call her by her surname, like they abbreviate her surname to Vandy from Vandermeer. Scarlett Vandermeer, okay? Scarlett is in her junior year. Junior year is the year before senior year, and after senior year, you graduate. And she's in a mandatory therapy section right now. This is the next scene. She's grateful for the privilege of therapy because, come on, it's a privilege. But it's not comfortable. This therapy seems to be anywhere between 40 and 70. Scarlett really can't tell. Scarlett is wearing her joggers and a compression shirt. So apparently something related to her sports. Now, it's black and cardinal red. She's in Stanford University. I think that's one of the Ivy League schools, yeah? Stanford. I'm going to confirm this. So she's part of the Stanford swimming and diving, team. The swimming guys, the diving ladies, that's a team. It's one team, actually. Although they do two different sports, but they're part of the same team. The swimming and diving. And the motto, fear the tree. whatever that means. Now let's keep going. So Scarlett is trying to explain her sports to her therapist because this is a new therapist that they switched her to. She's now telling the therapist, the lady, we jump off things, we plunge into pools, we do some acrobatics in between. So consider like a gymnast, but a gymnast that lands inside water. So they do the roll thing, and their landing ground is no longer bare ground, but inside the water. I'm an NCAA Division 1 athlete. I compete in 2 events. One is from the springboard, that bouncy fiberglass board that she now mimics the up and down motion with the flat of her hand. That bounce. You guys, come on, look this up on YouTube. It's interesting. That's like 3 meters high, about 10 feet, as tall as an ostrich. Do you get? That's what the voice of her first coach says in her mind, Scarlett's head. So her therapist now asks, what's the other event? She now explains the platform. That's 10 meters high. That's in her head. She's like 33 feet, 2 giraffes tall. Imagine plunging from 2 giraffes tall. Jesus Christ. If you have fear for heights, you cannot do this sport. You really can't. The therapist now asks, no bounce for the second one. She's like, no, it's static. The therapist now does the scoring work like gymnastics? She now explains, yeah, it does, pretty much. A panel of judges looks for mistakes and subtracts points accordingly. So the therapist now asks, and how many dice do you perform per competition? So Scarlett has explained, that depends, and it's not really about how many. There are 6 groups of dives at the end of her freshman year, 15 months ago. She was in freshman a year and 3 months ago, now. They are investing most fast. She's already in her 3rd year. So she's going to do 4 years here. Now, Scarlett sustained an injury, and because she's only listing 5 groups, therapist suspects a connection that because there are 6 groups of dives and Scarlett is only listing 5. So what's the 6th group that it's making you like this? So it has to do with why she's in therapy. And we're going to find out. So let's keep going. Now, what we do here next is that Miriam, Scarlett's roommate, in the next scene, is berating her for not doing well in German language. Scarlett wants to become a medical doctor, and foreign languages are compulsory. She could switch to an easier language to learn, but she really can't because it would get tangled up with other things on her schedule. Being a student athlete is hard. It's like a lot of discipline. There is barely any time. So other classes would kind of, collide with the other things she has to do for the sports. Do you get? So German is the only thing that happens to be at a time that she can attend the class. But she's struggling with the subject. She's not really doing well at it. Do you get? And she was recruited by Stanford for the sports. Those people that get into college based on athleticism, right? So they're on a scholarship. So if she's not doing well at the sports, they can withdraw the scholarship. Do you get? So it's that kind of thing of how do I balance my academics and the sports? This very pro sports. She made it as far as Olympics, in her slightly younger years. She was a national team member. The whole of America, represented America in this thing. And she was also a junior world medalist. So Scarlett is not small. But when they're describing the life of this person that has achieved plenty of things here, and I used to just be like, based on how the cadence of it is going. When somebody is saying all these things, you think about pictures will be following her 24/7, celebrity lifestyle. Let's continue. So anyhow, whatever injury she had in that her freshman year 15 months ago, it looked like not much at first, but then it involved surgeries, a real threat of never diving again. Her stepmom, Barb, is a brilliant orthopedic surgeon. It's even had that announced to Scarlett the diagnosis. Right now, Scarlett is at Avery Aquatic Center. That's the name of the place she goes to train at. And she now overhears Pen, that's Penelope and Lukas. Penelope, we will mostly call her Pen, okay? So she hears Pen and Lukas arguing. Remember, they're the power couple, okay? Scarlett admires Pen, okay? She likes Pen as a human being, and Pen is a very nice person, genuinely. So it now makes Scarlett swallow her fear of tall, imposing men. She has a fear around tall, imposing men because of her own dad. We are getting there. But she swallows that fear, and she approaches Lukas and now asks him, is there a problem? Just in case he's bullying her friend or something. You get? Now, Pen is mortified as Scarlett thinks Lukas is the kind of guy that would hit a lady. Now, important to note here, Pen is an NCCA champion, whatever organizing body for their sports that they do. Lukas leaves. Victoria, another member of the team, arrives. Victoria is in Pen's year. They're both seniors in their senior year. Because of Scarlett's injury, she's behind by a year. That's why you get. So Scarlett now gets pulled into a closet room with the girls. That is. So Scarlett, Pen, and Victoria, three of them are in a closet. Pen and Lucas, they've been together since they've been 15 years old. So they got together quite early. Since they've been 15 years old, they've been together. And now they're 21. So that's like about 7 years of relationship. But it does not seem to be working out anymore. Now, Victoria now cautions Pen against quitting. Like, why do you want to break up with Lucas? Like, he's one of the best there is out there. Have you seen men out there? It would be stupid for you to break up with him. You know, that type of thing. Meanwhile, what do you think about that? Okay? Now, let's keep going. So, Pen now admits to her friends that Lucas is into kinks and Pen is not into those kind of things. Now, all these things are just too much for Scarlett, who did not even want to be in this situation in the first place. She just walked up to defend her friend. What's her business with the rest of this things passing? Do you understand? Scarlett is an introvert, major introvert. You get it's even because she works with team members as so that's giving her hope at social life. But during the warm-up she now makes up her mind to ask Pen something. She doesn't want to really be involved though, but just like let me just say something that might be helpful to Pen because she likes Pen. So now they're meeting at a cafe. Pen, the reason Scarlett likes her so much is when Scarlett had her injury, Pen checked in on her a lot. You get. And also everyone likes Pen. Pen has this whole perfect work balance, no mean girl vibes, power couple draw with Lucas. You know, that popular girl that's just chill. That's not secretly a mean bad girl. She's just nice, sunshine, okay? Red hair, gorgeous. That's Pen. All right. So now Scarlett puts herself on full exposure. I don't know why I don't take note of their physical appearances. I need to start doing that better. But, you know, this is why I'm telling you. Follow me on socials, please. Let's connect on socials, okay? You know, so that when I promote these episodes and I find the pictorials of how they look like, you can see them. You know, I don't tell all these stories in a day. I tell them over a period of 2 or 3 weeks. So at least the next time we come, you can, like, imagine the faces better, you know? I do the pictorials. I go out of my way to get that done. Scarlett is dark-haired and dark-eyed. She's just a dark combination. There are races that are dark, but then they're, like, so fine. So fine. Even though it's just dark hair, dark eyes, you're like, how are you so fine? Scarlett falls in that category. And I already mentioned that Pen is she's a redhead, sort of auburn, reddish brown, really. Now, as someone who's into pain with pleasure, now Scarlett is into kink, even though she's only ever had one sexual partner. We're getting to all those places, really. But regardless, despite that, Scarlett knows from her limited exposure, you know, to sexual experience that she's someone who is into pain with pleasure. And the reason why Scarlett is into this, she's now explaining that to Pen, that this might help you understand your boyfriend a little better. You know, Scarlett in her good mind she's rooting for Pen and Lucas, the power couple. So Scarlett now tells Pen with her good mind, that the reason I'm into this pain with pleasure is because as someone whose mind can wander a lot, the pain helps keep me grounded in that intimate moment. And there are ways that you and Lucas can get to this consensual point. Now, Scarlett dated her high school friend, turned boyfriend for 3 years. She told him, you know, about it. They had managed it. They managed the whole pain with pleasure thing before they broke up in her freshman year due to distance. That's all we know for now, distance. But Pen is not into the whole pain with pleasure at all. Because according to Pen, she is feminist and her feminist hates the controlling aspect of it. And also Pen is like, yeah, I mean, this thing with Lucas was great, but she feels like she wants to date other people, get out, flirt. Having been with one guy since she was 15 hasn't really given her the whole teenage experience of chasing other people, experiencing the thrill of being single. You know, it's kind of like being married, getting married too early. So you want to just experience, how would that be like? You know, there are times like that, really, you know, when you are single and you're enjoying it and then you see a couple, you want to be, you know, and vice versa. It's just like, and she's just being a young adult. She's just being a girl. You know, as much as Pen is saying all these things, I want to get out. Scarlett is listening. When she's like, I can't relate. Because I feel like if Scarlett and her boyfriend did not break up, Scarlett is someone that would have just happily stayed with one person. She's just, I think it's just one innate loyalty she has. She can just stay with one person and she's cool, even if it's with distance. Okay, if we see once a year, then we'll do it once a year. Every other time it's fine, you know. She just appears like that kind of person, that loyal to a fault person. Anyhow, like I said, student athletes have very tight schedules, but this is the life they manage to have. Anyhow, while they're still in this meeting, they're talking. Pen's alarm goes off, which means she has to get another appointment, okay? She appreciates Scarlett for being cool, caring like this, okay? And after Pen leaves, Scarlett is like, yo, this is the first time anybody has called me cool. The whole reason why Scarlett even wants to be a doctor is because of her stepmom, Barb. Her own biological mom is late. Scarlett's mom is late. And after a certain showdown with her dad, Barb was married to Scarlett's dad, obviously. Barb fought for custody, for Scarlett's custody, and her and Barb have been together ever since. Barb is always busy and dedicated to making her patient's life easier. And for that reason, Barb missed a lot of Scarlett's meets. But instead of bad blood, like, oh my God, mommy, you are not present for me. You're always prioritizing your patients, regardless. Scarlett somehow still has a lot of admiration, for her stepmom. There's a way Barb even explained this to her, that those people at the hospital, most people don't have my expertise, and when they hurt on this, would you prefer, there's a way explained what she does to Scarlett that was so nice, and said, hey, I love you a lot and I'll be at your meets if I could. However, I'm helping these other people. Okay, and Barb is always there for Scarlett in all the ways. They just have this relationship and they get it. They really do. Scarlett attends her coach's compulsory cookout. She runs into Lukas there. And then there is a certain woman, Mrs. Sima, who keeps bringing up, oh my God, your mom must be so proud of you, asking if she would show up in his circuit around the world, if his mom is going to come around for this. And the way Lukas is acting, he's uncomfortable about this continuous mention of his mom. But Mrs. Sima is not getting the hint. So Scarlett steps into the situation. She saves him by lying that Pen is looking for him. She notices that for some reason Lukas keeps studying her tonight, which makes her think that Pen may have said something. Do you get? Their Stanford diving team has 5 members instead of 6, making Scarlett the lone one. So the other 4 people are in pairs, Pen and Victoria, and then 2 girls who are twins. So it's just Scarlett that dives alone. Now, the twins of the diving team, also happen to be dating a set of twin boys as well. I don't know how twins do that stuff sometimes, but it's kind of cool. Right now, though, Pen is drunk. She's seated outside with Scarlett, and then she now tells Scarlett that she and Lukas have broken up. However, Lukas has to take her home. But when he approaches them, Pen has the wildest drunk idea. She's like, Scarlett and Lukas should totally do it. So Pen's logic is this. Lukas is a public figure that can't exactly fill out his preferences on a dating site. He's a champion and all, so he can't. He's actually a public figure. Also, he thinks Scarlett is hot, and they're into the same kink. Lukas is a soft dom, apparently, while Scarlett is a sub. Is the whole thing in BDSM? I wouldn't know. Now, the entire time, Scarlett forgets how to breathe, while Lukas flickers an interested look away. But the rest of the time, he treats Pen like an errant toddler. When Pen passes out on the grass in the setting sun, Scarlett quietly apologizes for the invasion in his privacy. Now, later in another therapy section, it's revealed that she has lost mode syndrome. Lost mode syndrome happens to some athletes after an injury. They seem to lose the skill for a move that they used to do so well. And divers call this thing twisties. You can't just perform a certain move anymore, but you can perform every other thing else except a certain move. After the drunk Pen incident, Scarlett begins to notice Lukas everywhere. He doesn't call attention to himself. He's captain of the swim team. He's a great leader, good friend. They nod at each other sometimes. That's it. She's still having the mental block. She can't still perform that particular move that she was performing before she had the accident. And the coach, Sima, that's her coach, is ruffle, but he's also kind. Now, after stretching out a particular day because her PT, her physical therapist, recommended it so she doesn't bust her shoulder again, she swipes her card, but the door to the locker room won't budge. She now calls Pen, that's Captain Pen. Pen is captain for the diving team, while Lukas is captain of the swimming team. So, see how they were like, power couple stuff. Although they've broken up right now, but the rest of the world does not know it, okay? Just Scarlett and maybe, I don't know. But when she calls Pen to come to her rescue, Pen sounds like she's with someone, maybe on a date or something, okay? Now, Pen now says, okay, let me test Lukas for you so that he can come to your aid, to get the good old-fashioned keys. And around then, an unknown number now texts Scarlett's phone and says, I'm on my way. To her, she's like, oh, crap. She's kind of been avoiding Lukas, right? She's just that guy. She sees and knows. She just happens to know, okay, he's into kink. But that's it. They're on the same team. That's it. Lucas now arrives. There's that awkward moment of them watching each other. He now waits while she goes in to retrieve her things and come out, just so they don't go in together and it gets jammed again. She's nervous, thinking he doesn't know what his ex is up to tonight. And he now tells her, hey, that he's actually aware where her thoughts are at, but why should it bother him? So she now asks him a few questions. Does he still have feelings for Pen? He's like, yeah, maybe. You are together for a long time. Then she now also asks him, if both of you had not broken up, would you have been content with the normal doing? Like, the thing that you guys just do, even though you guys were having problem there? He just replies he made a commitment. And that immediately tells you the kind of person Lucas is. He made a commitment means he's just going to see this thing through. Okay, now that he's single, he has all the time to get with someone. This is Scarlett just kind of talking. He now turns the questions on her and she realizes too late what he's done. Anyway, he now asks her about her shoulder and he winds up doing this her arm behind her back maneuver thing, helps her stretch it. Remember, she was stretching before she got locked out of the locker room and all these things led to this point. Now, there are people about, so she feels safe around this big guy. Remember, she has this whole thing about feeling unsafe around tall, big guys. But there are people around, so she's like, okay, we're out in the open. He can't hurt me. He can't do anything, okay? Now, the stretching also feels good. He offers to walk her home. She turns it down. And once she gets home, she passes out. Now, the following morning, there's an email with a subject line, and it says what you need. The body of the email reads, if you decide to go for it, I think it should be me. She actually also sent this based on the conversation she was just having with Lukas the previous night, okay? Now, last week's homework, they returned it to them in class. This is Scarlett in the classroom. It's Computational Biology. Now, the guy in front of Scarlett got a D, while Scarlett's paper is not even graded. Beneath her paper is an order for her to go see the professor. And this particular professor is not the friendliest, so he's a little unnerving. But Scarlett doesn't want plagiarism attached to her name. She did this thing herself. So she goes to see the professor and now finds out that the professor didn't give her a grade because she did too well. She solved a major science problem in a homework that he would have further pursued in research if only a colleague of his wasn't already doing something similar in research. He now wants to recruit her for a research project. However, in Scarlett's academic plans, the year for research experience is next year. So that's when she wants to, do research next year. Because I told you, student athletes, it's tough. Okay? So that's when she wants to ask her mentor for a recommendation letter. Now, she just tells him she'll think about it. He gives her a contact email. On her way to the refectory, she shoots a mail to a Dr. Olympian. That's the professor doing the research and this homework thing that she kind of did. Scarlett's in another therapy section. The inward dive is a move that she can no longer do. That's what it's called, the inward dive. You can Google that, look that up on YouTube and see how, it looks like. There are remnants of the accidents that make this move blocked out, but she's not willing to talk about it yet. Maybe. Do you understand? There were things leading to this accident, but it's associated with so much pain that she's not willing to talk about it. And we know how that goes. If you still have a mind block around it, you suffer the problem a little longer. But hey, please, it's healing. I can't fault anybody. Now, this is picture day for the swimming team and the dive team. It's uncomfortable, but Pen makes it fun. She lightens up the atmosphere. She makes them play with glasses, makes them pose, they end up laughing. And then Pen wants to hang out with Scarlett afterwards, but there's a meeting Pen has to catch. Scarlett is passing the swimming team where the boys are boisterous, and that makes Scarlett uncomfortable. Lukas is with his teammates, she's passing the swimming guys right now. Scarlett is passing the swimming guys right now, and Lukas is there, and his teammates, they put him in the middle of them. They wrap him in a flag. He now promises to swap any future Olympian medal he wins. In exchange, those pictures disappear. As far when they wrapped him up, they were now snapping. He's like, I'm just gonna give you any future Olympian medal I have. Delete these pictures, guys. Now their eyes catch. Scarlett and Lucas's eyes catch. And it's like, ooh, small sky, okay? Now Scarlett just okay, ducks her head. She goes to the meeting. And the meeting is actually with Dr. Olive Smith. Olive Smith, she's a woman. She's a biologist. It's tied to that homework she did. The homework she did was on pancreatic cancer cells using deep learning algorithm. By some weird twist of fate, her lab mate is going to be Lukas Blomqvist. So they're not just tied by, we see each other during practice. Now, they're going to be doing the sciencey lab project thing together. So both of them now go to grab a meal. It's raucous dining place where they go to, college students now. But his tall large frame helps them navigate the circles of students onto a table. He catches her up in 20 minutes of what the research has been about. You can tell he loves it, but he's reached a dead end. And like her, he's also pre-med, as per The American system works a certain way. He has to do 4 years right now before he now goes for interview and gets into medical school, and it's a whole thing. So they're both pre-med students. They both intend to study medicine. Now, he's in the applications to med school phase because he's a senior. They're the same age though, but like I told you, she's a bit behind because of that injury. Now, they took the same physics class in the previous year, but she doesn't remember seeing him. You get, it's the one who tells her like, oh yeah, we took a class together. She's like, we did? Do you get? No, she was preoccupied by a lot. Yeah, well, it happens. So Scarlett is talking him through the dead end and what the alternative thing could be. He doesn't get it. So she just looks up, okay, where can I write this thing right now so that you get an idea what I'm talking about? So she now winds up using his palm, to be writing something on his hand. Midway, they're interrupted by some members of the swim team and a girl who knows pen. The girl is displeased that Lukas is with another girl who isn't pen. As far girls fighting for girls, like, who are you with? Where's your girlfriend? You get, it makes Scarlett uncomfortable because she's not doing anything wrong, right? But the girl sort of eases up when Lukas mentions about biology. He makes his friends leave too, like leave them alone, like, yeah, we're busy, bye-bye. Now, alone, Lukas mentions he's realized her nervousness isn't just around him, but around all meals. I'm so glad he picked up on that because he felt it's a him thing. He's like, no, you just are not comfortable around youths. And this thing has to do with her dad issues. That her dad used to make her feel small. Scarlett's ex didn't understand that Scarlett that had dad issues, abusive dad, and dad that was all in your face. How is it that you can be into kink while having an obvious fear of, big men? But Lukas gets it because they're talking about this right now. The intimacy part of it, of kink, apparently takes trust. But the latter part, the whole daddy thing, they're not asking for your permission before they get all big and bad in your face. She now thanks him for making his friends move elsewhere, and he thanks her for getting Mrs. Simmer, the coach's wife, off his back, when the lady kept asking about his mom. This is another scene, and Scarlett is having a hard time drafting a letter to any medical school. She doesn't want to bother her stepmom to help her, like, how am I supposed to go about this? She doesn't want to ask Lukas either. He's out of the question. They're not friends. That's what she keeps telling herself. He's just a guy, okay? Now, soon, it's time for practice at the Avery Aquatic Center. And this Avery Aquatic Center, where they go to train, this year's facility, is the size of her high school. And yet, in this university, at Stanford University, it's only the swimming team and the diving team that use it. So the amount of money that certain colleges pump into sports, though, it's not a joke, really. However, the swimmers, they have intramural competition today. Lukas wins, barely. His teammates are really good, but he just happens to be the best, one of the best, really. And he doesn't even do any gimmicks to show off, like, how someone win and maybe they'll twerk or do something weird. He just, yeah, well, I won, okay. That kind of cool guy. Okay, let's just go. The thing always just makes Scarlett like, how are you so friggin' self-assured at 21 years old? Who does that, okay? Now, somehow, Penn and Scarlett wind up sitting together. It's still not public news that Penn and Lukas have broken up because, according to Penn, the sports community would have made it weird because both of them were like this big couple. Now, Penn and Scarlett have been hanging out without mention of Lukas. And Scarlett is like, yo, I have a female friend I'm sort of close to. She's making good memories of just having a girlfriend. Also, Penn and Lukas are still besties in public, because they dated so long, so I guess the friendship aspect of the whole thing is still there. And Penn now confides in Scarlett that CEO, being his girlfriend, protected her in her freshman year from obnoxious dudes. She just slowly easing into the whole not being together thing with him again, that they're slowly getting to that point of public announcement. So when Lukas wins, Penn drags Scarlett to where he is, throws her arms around him. She even kisses his jaw. He looks neutral. He's not bending lower to help or anything. But it's not like Penn minds it. She's just like, yeah, well, that's Lukas for you. He's not like very expressive. He's always just, neutral. That's how he is. And Penn has an enthusiasm to Power Village. So she more than makes up for his neutral way of stuff. Now, this is a good time to mention that swimming and diving might require the same equipment, but they're two completely different skills. I think I already said this. In swimming, the goal is overcoming lag, moving fast in water. It shows in the body of swimmers. But diving is basically gymnastics in water. Your body has to withstand that sudden pressure of hitting the water and cutting through. So these ladies are really toned. They are hot and they are toned. Okay, in this Stanford University, swimmers, they are more funded than the divers, and it always makes the coach of the diving team, Coach Sima, always makes him annoyed. Lucas's Coach R, like you are, he's great at modern talent and superstitious. He noticed the algorithm thing that Scarlett began drawing on his hand the other day. That thing she was drawing and trying to explain to him how he can move further in the experiment, now. She didn't know she was writing with a permanent ink, so it's still on his hand. So Coach O now declares, okay, you did very well. It's thanks to that algorithm thing on your hand. That for this season, that's your good luck charm. You better have it on always. Apparently for every season, Lucas has one thing like that for his good luck charm. Now the girls are off to practice. And when there's a lull, like things are slowly moving, Scarlett now texts him on the number she still hasn't saved. So what Scarlett texts him is, do you like being reminded I'm superior in computational biology? He's now like, I have a thing for girls who are smarter than me. Now I'm just forming an accent, but that's not the accent at all. Now Scarlett understands the whole superstition talk because her worst game was after losing her tie-dye chamois. Now their texting is cut off when there is a scream. Apparently one of the divers, Victoria, that's Penn's partner in diving, twisted her ankle badly. Scarlett is in yet another therapy section. She feels so awful about what happened to Victoria, who tripped. Scarlett isn't afraid of the risk associated with diving. What then is now causing the block of a simple move like the inward dive? And you have to know that things like gymnastics, those things are, Jesus, if you ever suffer an injury in those things, it's damning. Not just about you can't do the sports, you probably can't do most normal things. Those guys live with a lifetime of pain. I could just refund this some but not today, okay? Let's keep going. Scarlett has her first lab meeting with a teaching assistant and Lucas. The teaching assistant guy, oh my god. If you know how many times this guy tried toasting Scarlett, but I don't even think she noticed. When Lucas steps out to get water, he leaves the door slightly open because it's just the teaching assistant and Scarlett. And he does that because he knows how Scarlett is around men and is thoughtful. But Scarlett is having a swell time regardless. She rests her feet on his seat because he's not there. And she's now stretching out. But he returns and he now gently lifts her ankles that is on his seat. And he places them in his laps. The TA was low-key trying to know her relationship status, or this fine girl, trying to shoot his shots. Lucas points this out when the TA steps out. Hey, that guy is trying to hit on you. But she gets defensive and now tells her, I'm not clueless. But he now reminds her, but you did not notice that so-and-so in my team asked you out twice. In trying to say that she doesn't really notice when people are into her, he explains that, say, you're a focused person, you like staying out of what you don't have any control over. The thing still sparks Scarlett and makes her defensive. She now tells him, listen, that pen blotted out one thing about me she shouldn't have doesn't mean you know me. You get? So I think that kind of cuts off the whole him trying to be friendly or get to know her better thing. It cuts it off. Now, by the next practice, Scarlett is informed that Victoria is out. She had an injury the last time now. Scarlett would have to partner up with Penn for the synchro dive synchronization. All these things, kindly Google them. They're so awesome. I mean, look them up on YouTube. I watched these videos and I will use them in a promotion. I want you to get to see them because it's so cool. Really. They have individual performances, surely. Then there'll also be synchro, where they do dives together, twinning it. And both of them have about the same stature, same height, so it would be great. Now, the Saturday when Scarlett writes her MCAT, apparently something that has to do with admission into medical school, is a 7-hour long exam for med school. It's brutal. And then Penn comes to pick her up because apparently it's Brie and Bella's birthday party. Brie and Bella are the twins on the diving team, and it's holding at their twin boyfriend home. So the entire swimming team and the divers team is there, minus Victoria. As usual, our girl Scarlett is socially awkward. She manages to find somewhere upstairs where she's undisturbed. And of course, it's Lucas who finds her. Penn was concerned, like, oh, I haven't seen, this babe, so that sent Lucas to go find her. Scarlett is sort of beefing Lucas at this point after being all defensive now, that last time at the lab. This beef is just that, it's about her, not him, because she's actually never been attracted to a popular guy before. Her last boyfriend was safe, just regular dude. Again, I've described who Lucas is. So being attracted to that kind of person, especially if you're the kind of person Scarlett is, who forgets she's impressive half the time. More than half the time, really. So Lucas looks like way out of my league sort. Do you get? Besides, he dated my friend and, come on. And he's also like trying to fight everyone for his attention. However, she's the only one who has his attention. think he says that. He tells her, "You're the only one who has my attention." I'm going to find this scene, maybe use it for a bit of promotion because you need to see that scene. It's pure butterflies, really. So, people are always about this theory. One of the complaints that people online have about this theory is, we didn't see the romance bloom. It just happened. We didn't see the romance bloom. And I'm like, me reading it felt like, yes, the romance started really early. But I'm like, I think it fits. Because these are college students. So in between seeing someone daily and this, whatever crush you're having on them is growing. So those moments both of you really have time to get in close contact feels like boo. Because you've been having so many sparks from seeing each other around constantly. Do you get? So now Lukas knew when Scarlett did not even notice his existence. Apparently, he noticed her a whole long time before she even noticed he existed. Yes, remember what I said? She started noticing him. That means he was always there, but she never noticed him until a certain time. Also, despite her fear of men, that's Scarlett's fear of men, she's at ease with Lukas, both privately and in public. Now, at this moment, he's caressing her bottom lip. He dips a finger in her mouth, behind her teeth, and on her tongue. Now, this is getting hot. He pulls back and goes to stand next to the door. He now resumes his unaffected pose. Now I get people. It would be so awesome to read his point of view because I think that's another thing I saw online when I was kind of trying to read the book. I was reading through the reviews and people are like that they would like to get into Lucas's head once to actually know his own points because we get to see the story mostly through Scarlett's point of view. Do you get? Now, no one is that cool, honestly. He was always so cool. And now I think about it, most of Ali Hazelwood's heroes seem this way. I actually need more emotion from them. You get? I just need more emotion. But I think it's similar in real life. Most often when guys and girls are getting together in real life, the guys are always cool. But I like stories that we get to see the guy in the guy's head too. From the girl's perspective, it was always looking like he's not feeling anything. Do you get? Now, Lukas now states how it's going to be. That either she gives consent or they can forget the last 2 weeks and stick to professional. We know he made her an offer on email and stuff. So he now starts for the longest time waiting for her reply. She doesn't say anything, so he leaves. Now, it takes her 15 minutes to pull herself together. She goes downstairs. They cut the cake parts. Lukas is on the couch with his friends. Penny's sitting on his leg. And it's like him and Scarlett never had a moment upstairs. This is college. So all these things you're seeing. Yes, I've seen a couple college movies in my own time, novels. Yeah, college always looks like everybody's having this coming out life low-key. It's always like that. Even Nigerian version of university, definitely it's not boy and girl together all the time, the way that they have it there. But boys and girls always mixing up. It's university. So when the others pull out their phone to take a video of 2 guys performing BTS, Ali Hazelwood is actually a huge K-pop person. I think K-pop mentioned, it's somehow mentioned in her books, at least a time or two. So during this time when, these 2 guys are performing BTS, come on, the Bangtan boys and stuff. Scarlett pulls out her phone and she now finally replies to that email he sent since and now says when and where. Because remember he sent an email now asking her if she should do it anyone, that it should be me. So now she finally replies asking when and where. So this is Monday after practice and she's headed to the dining hall when Lukas intercepts her. He now hands her a list of BDSM stuff. It's so unexpected, she forgets to breathe. He now tells her that she has to fill it in and give it back. She can't see his first or else she might settle for what she thinks is agreeable. He has his own list that he's filled out what's okay and what's not okay. So she has to fill out her own. You get separately. So this whole thing is about honesty. So later, some coaches guide Scarlett and Penn for the synchro part. Their first synchro is honestly a flop. Scarlett is feeling guilty, but Penn lightens the mood by playing a song. And then they're in the car. Then Penn now breaks the news to Scarlett. I'm actually seeing a guy right now. She's already seen someone else. And this guy used to be my TA, my teaching assistant. Now, it takes Scarlett 2 days to get through the list that's Lukas gave her. She's being careful. She's weighing each line. When she's done with the list, she now lets Lukas know, text him, yo, I'm done with this list though. And 3 times they plan to meet. And each of those 3 times, at the last minute, he would cancel with a text, something urgent. I don't know about you, but me, when that kind of thing used to happen to me in real life, I would just conclude that this guy does not care. That he used to do too much, guy. That he's stressing me. That my emotions are spent. I'm like, in fact, dude, forget, I beg. I know they do. I said, nothing, I'm not angry, just leave me alone. That's me straight up. Because what's that? You understand? What are you feeling like? Okay, he changed his mind. No biggie. They're both part of the same team, and then they're doing this lab project together. He doesn't even make it to one lab meeting like that. Then one time she's heading home when he texts to ask if she's free. He now asks her to meet in the library in 10 minutes. And now she's like, library of all places. His logic is that no one will hear them here while they weigh the list. They're in a semi-private room but with glass windows. He wants to know about her dad just in case there might be triggers around that situation for him to avoid. Now, her father apparently got too controlling, and her stepmom did what was best for them. It's a very contained situation. So now they both dropped their list onto the table. She's hesitant about to reach for his. He had no such trouble. He reached for her own immediately. She's now blabbering, while he's going through her list. She's self-conscious. Instead of her to read his list, she doesn't. She's just watching him read her own list. And she's just blabbering like, okay, what's going to be his reaction? But then Lukas does the most shocking thing. They're still in the library. Yes, in a private room sort of, but it's a glass window, so people can't see them. But this guy, for some reason, forgets all of that, pushes her up against the wall, and smush. Yeah, actually smush. So that's smush be smushing, because they almost forget they're in a freaking library and anybody can see them. Now, there's a sound of books toppling over. That means somebody must have been like, oh my God, who are these two people generating heat in here? And boop, 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 So at the sound of books toppling over, there's whispered apologies, and it's Scarlett who pushes back. Lukas is in so deep in the moment that it actually takes him a while to kind of like, okay, down to earth. Now, when they're seated, he's clear that she has to read his own list. That's his condition. This is an arrangement. There is no plan to catch feelings because, come on, we are student athletes. We don't do that. There is no time for that. We're just kind of distressing. This is their culture, of course. This is not the culture, right? It's their culture. And Scarlett is also like, she's not in that emotional bandwidth right now to fall for someone. Yeah, well, good luck. As though you're not already there. Now, according to her, she's been celibate for 2 years and, right? And it's been easy, really. I mentioned the other day, she went home and just, most of the time when she goes home, she just sleeps or I think she watches something or something. She's just a very regular teenage person. Now, there's a ping on Lukas's phone. 18 people got cut from his team that week. So he's been so busy and exhausted doing captain stuff. That's why he's been cancelling. And it's been looking like something else we don't know. Scarlett now asks Lukas, what about Pen? So she wants to know. She has to know. Lukas says he's going to take care of it. So that night, she watches a movie, and only when she's about to sleep does she look at his list. He took her own list and left his list for her. So it now occurs to her that everything she crushed is what he crushed her. Now explains in intense kiss. Is that whole found my other half kind of vibe. For the first time in a very long time, she sleeps with a smile on her face. Love in the air kind of thing. Now, the following morning, Pen asks to see her, and Scarlett's heart is pounding as per how is Pen going to react that I'm getting with Lukas. But then the next thing Pen says is, I told you so! She's so excited they're getting together because she's clearly moved on and she's been worried about Lukas because he's not the type to date freely. He's not affectionate. That the entire time they were together, he just called her Penelope. And she's glad that Lukas found someone to, sleep with at least. Scarlett is having trouble reconciling Lukas as not an affectionate guy. Even with her limited experience of him, she's like, the whole ankle thing, helping her stretch thing, the whole smush in the library, that's not somebody who's not affectionate. But should I talk? Do you get? And also, after that first case at the library, he kept touching and kissing her here and there. Like they've been doing so since forever, as though, I've been with you all my life. He's this touchy person whenever he's around Scarlett. He has to be in touch with her skin somehow. And she's like, I can't relate. Like, do you get? But I'm glad she doesn't say so, or Pen might have felt weird anyway. But anyhow, Pen found someone she gels with. That she sleeps over the person's place. He's not overwhelming in the sense he makes the center of orbit himself without trying. Lukas is that kind of person. He just walks into the room and is like, he's become the main character. Everybody has to serve him. But regardless, Lukas is loyal. He's kind. But yeah, he does have the larger-than-life thing going on. And that was too much for Pen, apparently. So yeah, this episode has gone on really long enough. But to be fair, I feel like talking and talking. I don't think I've had so much excitement telling a story in a while, the way I'm having so much excitement telling the story. I think it's because they're young people. So I relate to them more. The stupidity and everything. So I don't know. I think I'm going to have more fun telling the story than I thought I would. So if you had as much fun listening to this as I had as much fun telling it, please just share it to one person on your contact list who listens to way too much music and you think that they might want to listen to something else. Maybe they're like, this music stuff, I don't feel like, I don't know what to do. This my phone stuff is boring. At least let them just listen to something while they fold clothes to do something around the house. They would thank you for it, honestly. So I'm just going to see you in the next episode. See you. Thank you so much, Deborah. Bye.